Hey, this is Reverend Bill, and today is September 9th. And there we go. Got to get the crucifix out. So we got a lot of things to cover today. So let's just get this screen shared out and let's see what we got. Okay, this is an interesting one and very timely. I looked into this. So due to the Minneapolis transgender Christian school shooting, I looked into the policy of gun shops, and I found out that gun shops cannot, the owners or the workers cannot refuse to sell someone just because they are transgender. And this, to me, is an issue. I would think that if you're in a situation where you are selling a lethal weapon, you should be able to use your discretion. I could tell from the very time that I saw a picture of, I don't know, whatever you want to call him, Robin Westman, that this guy was transgender. And I immediately jumped out and found out that his license said that he was a woman. And just to mention it again, I was hopping all over the place, looking all over for any newspaper to report on what I found out immediately. And it took the entire day for them to find this out or for to confirm it, whatever they had to do. The bottom line is they were very, very late in reporting on this. And I spent the day screaming everywhere that would listen that he was transgender. And I think they came out around 6 o'clock in the afternoon after I'd been screaming all day long about it. And finally they came out. And once it came out everywhere. And then I felt kind of ridiculous because everyone started firing back. What are you talking about? It's right there. It's everywhere. And anyway, it doesn't matter. Not the first time I felt ridiculous, but I was screaming all day long. And finally around 6 o'clock, everyone started firing back saying, shut up, it's everywhere. They're all talking about it. And anyway, the point I'm trying to get to is I think a gun shop owner should be able to say, no, you look wacky to me. I'm not selling you a gun. This is a dangerous weapon. But they're not allowed to. Not only don't, but they're not even allowed to. Now, I don't think that he was all that obvious. As a matter of fact, and I really did not really look into his, what he's got, some documents he wrote or a manifesto or what have you, and I didn't look at those. I don't really care to see the rantings of a madman. I've seen enough of them to kind of know that we're not really going to get much off them. But the point I'm trying to get to is this: I've seen worse. Okay, I guess he even said in them that he regrets that he transitioned, whatever. If he did transition, I don't really care. But he said that he regrets having changed and he wished he never did, or he regrets whoever talked him into it. So he probably wasn't a full-fledged transgender at the end anyway. There are some far, far worse. I'm not necessarily arguing his case because, again, I don't think he was that outrageous. I'm more upset about the ones, or let me reuse a different verbiage there. I'm outraged at some of the ones that are probably getting the guns that are far, far worse than he was. And it's unlawful to say no to some of these people. And the ones that really popped into my mind, and, let's keep in mind that some of these places, some of these states, like in Georgia, they don't really have it, very lax here. And I think that's okay if the gun owner has the right to say, no, you're a whack, you're a whack job. But if they can't say that, then that's a whole different ballgame. For example, the one that really comes to mind, first and foremost, is this guy. If he comes in and he wants to buy a gun, I think a responsible gun owner should say, hit the road. I am not going to be responsible for giving you a loaded weapon. You're obviously mentally unstable and you are not going You might want to dress up like that, buddy, and maybe no one can do about it, but I am not putting a loaded gun in your hand. I think that's the only responsible thing a gun shop owner can do. And to say that that's illegal, you have to put a loaded gun in this guy's hand. Are you serious? Are you serious? You're saying I've got to put a loaded weapon in this guy's hand? How is that possible? And what's even more scary is I kind of went by it right here, that look at this. They're now saying that there's more of these guys running out there and getting guns more than ever because they're now feeling paranoid because they're out shooting people and people are pointing out that they're going out shooting people. So the result is they're going out and getting more guns because they're now feeling paranoid. They need self-defense because they're being targeted as going out and killing people, killing children because they're going out and killing children. So it's circular. It's a circular situation here. But they're saying that being transgender is not a disqualifier. And I have checked into this. It's that you can go into a gun shop dressed like this, and they have no right to tell you you cannot buy a gun. And I'm saying, in what universe is this okay? I'm blown away. I'm blown away. I would not be able to own a gun shop because I could not live with myself if I'm putting a loaded gun in this man's hand. All right, let's move along because I mean, I've no answer to this except I wouldn't put a loaded gun in this man's hand. Not even go to sleep at night. No. Here's another interesting one. Now, this is very, very interesting. I'm hearing shouts. This is a guy, by the way, the socialist, that wants to take over New York City, probably the strong argument for being the capitalist city of the world. Now, keep in mind that there's been a lot of talk about people that are leaving New York City because of the taxation problem there. But when all is said and done, you walk down Fifth Avenue and all the big companies are still there. It's not dependent on just the taxpayer, Joe taxpayer, running away. I mean, they do have all the capitalist companies are still there. All the jewelers are still there. All the bankers are still there. There is still an awful lot of damage that can be done. I would dare say all the damage is probably still pretty much there to be done. All the people fleeing is small potatoes. And this man can inflict an awful lot of damage. And I don't want to start going into all his policies he wants to do. In essence, he wants to change everything from, making the grocery stores public, legalizing prostitution, which, by the way, might be the most reasonable thing he wants to do. I mean, I'm not opposed to anything that makes sense as far as it can control the disease and it can be, if they tax it and use it for revenue for the state. I mean, I've heard of other plans in other countries like Germany where it makes sense. I'm not saying his plan would make sense, but I'm saying if it was done in a sensible, legalized, probably on a federal level, it would probably make sense if it was properly done. I'm sure whatever this guy cooks up is going to be absolutely insane because everything he's doing is slap happy. And he's got a whole bunch of people in his cabinet that are no less than he does. But I'm saying the idea in itself has worked in other places, and I wouldn't be opposed if it was done in a responsible manner. And get diseases off the street and maybe helped with the drug problem and prostitution. I could see theoretically how it could work like it's worked in other places. But this is not what this conversation is about. This conversation is about this madman that's about to destroy New York. But anyway, so, I mean, there's a lot of other things he's planning to do, and it's all not a good thing. There's some thought that let it happen. I'm not sure that's the right lesson here because I think this could actually be, I don't think letting New York could have worldwide consequences. It's not like it's an isolated place. This could set ripples effect that could be global. I'm not sure sitting back and letting it happen is a good idea. And there is, believe it or not, some religious people that are, and I'm not among them, that think that let the world fall to pieces. Rapture's got to happen. Rapture, by the way, is when the end of the world happens, and when Jesus is just about sick of the world, the way that it's completely fallen to disrepair. It's when he will come in, and that's signaling. I'm not going to get into the whole end of the world thing. I've done it enough, and I'll do it again later on, but not tonight. But essentially, when the world's just gone beyond repair, or at a situation where Jesus can't take anymore, that's when rapture will begin, which is the beginning of the end, kind of. And that's what they think. They just think, hey, let the world fall to pieces, let the transgender and let all the liberals have the world. The sooner they do that, the sooner it falls into disrepair, the sooner Jesus will come. I know I'm not among them. I'm going to fight as long and hard as I can before the world gets to that state. But be that as it may, that's pretty much what happens for Jesus to come, as the world has to go to complete chaos. And I guess this might be another step to that. So there's a lot of people out that just want New York to fall. They think that might be a good thing. One way, in some ways, if New York falls, that maybe this will get rid of the ideas of socialism once and for all. Maybe people will start to appreciate Donald Trump more. Who knows? But I'm not one of them. I do not think we should let New York fall at all. I didn't mean to make a rhyme there. I honestly think that we should fight this guy. With that said, I do not think we can stop him. I think he will take over New York, and I think we're going to be in for a rough ride. I do not think that this guy knows what he's doing. I certainly do not think that he's got anyone on his staff that I see that has any kind of background that shows that they know anything that they're doing. I don't know how he's actually going. He's anti-Jewish. I honestly do not know how he's actually getting New York. I really thought there was a strong Jewish presence in New York that would actually be able to stand up and fight him. I'm surprised that the constituents in New York, the Jewish constituents, have not put up a good enough fight, that they don't seem to be able to stop him. My guess is it's probably all the immigrants that have come in. I really don't know how else to explain this, but it's wild. All right, moving on. Oh my gosh, this one. So generally, after the changing of the guards at the White House, Secret Service agents just don't fall out of coconut trees. They're less. They're allowed 6 months. Vice presidents are allowed 6 months of Secret Service protection, and she had her 6 months. So for some reason, Biden, probably without even him realizing, it might be another auto pen job. Who knows? Don't get me started on the auto pen. We'll probably have to cover that as more and more of the investigation goes underway, but let's leave it alone for now. So she got her 6 months, and for some reason, Biden, knowingly or unknowingly, extended it, which is really weird because I heard they didn't get along. I don't know why he would extend it. Again, knowingly or unknowingly, it was extended to a year, and Trump decided to unextend it. Why would she need extended coverage? Probably the most forgettable vice president I can remember. And I guess Trump pulled the Secret Service, as I think he should have, honestly. And she immediately got all her cronies together, and they had the Los Angeles Police Department, and all the wisdom of Newsom and what's the other woman's name? Is it Mayor Barry, or I think it's Mayor Barry? Gave her the police to like 12 LAPD policemen to watch her. Why? I mean, why? Anyway, apparently, quite correctly, it was reported on, and I guess there was enough outrage that they pulled the police detail off her. I mean, she's a millionaire. God, I don't know how or why. But so she can afford her own detail. But why would she even need? I mean, if she really needs detail, I'd think a rent-a-cop would be more than sufficient. But if she really needs professional bodyguards, I find it hard to believe any more than one or two. But I mean, let's be honest. This woman is completely unimportant. Who cares? I even forget she exists unless I actually read about her in the newspaper. And I mean, I don't mean to be mean or cruel, but I mean, who really cares about her? Does she? I don't think she needs protection. And look at the other vice presidents. Seriously, Dan Quayle, Al Gore, and he said he invented the internet. I mean, really? I don't want to give you a lesson on the internet. I know all about it. I work in technology, but I can promise you Al Gore did not invent the internet. And Walter Mondale, I know he passed on a few years ago, I think 2021. But I mean, did anyone ever think about Walter Mondale until he passed? I mean, God rest his soul, but the guy, I never thought once about Walter Mondale. Probably, I don't know, 30 years. Never did I think about him. I'm sure he's a great guy and all, but just never came up in daily conversation. So why would she be any different? I mean, I don't believe she's going to run for governor. I think she officially said she was not going to run for governor. I know she shows her name up in polls, but for running, but no one really thinks she's going to run for president again. I wish she would, because if she gets the nomination, that's just going to be another shoo-in for J.D. Vance or whoever runs. No, she's who does she think she is? In all seriousness, no, she doesn't need she really needs like a platoon to get the tanks rolling in down her street, protecting her because she's such a high-profile person. I don't think anyone can even talk about her policies, really. I mean, she just talks about her coconut trees and, not being unburdened by the things of the past or the things of the future. And I don't know. No one even knows what she was talking about then. Why would she do her any harm? You don't even know what she represents. I mean, let's move on. I don't even know. We can't even talk about her intelligently because I don't even know what she stands for. Okay, here's our movie review. I did see this. It is very interesting. It is Elizabeth Olsen, which I think to be one of the only Olsen sisters that I find watchable. She's kind of cute. I like Elizabeth Olsen. I liked her earlier Scarlet Witch costumes, which are far more revealing. Again, I am a man. I kind of like her. I think she's very watchable. Alicia Vikander. I liked her a lot in Ex Machina. Anyway, that movie that she did a few years ago. If you've not seen it, I would recommend it. Let me just take a look at it. I always get that name. There we go. Hold on. Oh. Yeah, that's right. Ex Machina. That's what it was called. I thought it was that. It was a good movie. I really did enjoy it. Did enjoy it indeed. So I would recommend that if you haven't watched that, I would. Let's see. Himesh Patel. Don't really think I know anything that he was in. And the director, Fleur Fortune. So I would say Fortune, but it's obviously a French name. So I'm trying to do my best at French. Fortune? I don't know. Strange movie. Strange movie. It's some kind of a dystopian society, but generally in dystopian societies, you see a lot of the society. Here you don't. It's kind of an isolation movie. You've got a couple played by Himesh Patel and Elizabeth Olsen. And in the society, as with other movies, I guess for some reason there's a restriction on having children. Children seem like a luxury in the society, and they have to have an assessment to get the approval to have children, which is odd because from what we see, there really isn't a lot of children. I think we only see maybe one child in the whole movie. So makes you wonder why there's such a restriction. If children are so rare, why are they restricting them? But they don't really tell us that. We have to just accept it and go along. Kind of like a lot of things in government. So that's the deal. There's a test. It's a 7-day test. And they have to bring in the assessor, played by Alicia Vikander. I hope I pronounced that correct. A lovely woman in and of herself, although she's not really showing off her goods. She's more very a personality here, very proper, very rigid, a real pencil pusher, and she's here to examine all facets of their life, from everything, including right down into their sex life. She has to watch them having sex to make sure that their sex is appropriate. So it's not a children's movie, although it's not really flagrant. I mean, it's not like any soft porn. It's more it's inferred. It's insinuated. There's slight nudity, but nothing bad. But I wouldn't. The situational. There's situations in there I would not recommend children watching it. Maybe teenagers, but I wouldn't. I would leave your younger ones in bed and watch the adults have this to themselves. So strange movie. I will say it's not predictable. The ending is quite interesting. Not what I expected. Definitely not what I expected. And I'll leave it at that. I'm not sure if they liked it or not. I'm not sure if we was even happy or not. It was not an ending that I would have seen coming. And if somebody said to me, was it a happy ending or not? I would have to think about it. There's an argument, yes, and there's an argument, no. But I wouldn't say it's a must-see. I would say it is an interesting movie. But I'd give it a, I think IMDb gave it like a 7.2 or 7.3. I'm going to agree with that. It wouldn't be something that I would probably watch on a date night with a girlfriend or something. I watched it by myself to kill some time, and I think that was probably a very good time to watch it by myself, kind of interested, and yeah. But if you're in on a date or something on a Friday night with your girlfriend or something, I'm not sure it's something that would probably hit a date night. But if you're by yourself and you're kind of curious, I certainly would say that would be something you'd probably want to watch it with. All right, moving on. I got a couple other things. How would I not be able to discuss this one? This was really bothersome. I'm assuming you all probably saw at least what that was shown. They did actually stop it right around here, I would think. And a couple of thoughts really quickly. I mean, obviously it's horrible. I think this, the first thing I want to make sure it's clear is I do not see this. I don't know how anyone could possibly see this as a racist video, which I think some people were trying to say. There's nothing racist in this video. This video is a clear indication of the problems of dealing with the liberals and their refusal of dealing with mental health issues. That's the problem here. This guy was well known for a variety of crimes, 14 times since 2011. He was brought in for serious defenses, felonies, larceny, robbery with a dangerous weapon, and armed robbery. He served 5 years in prison. Assaults, he beat up his own sister. Minor things like emergency services, but still, when you consider that on top of the other things, he had mental issues, including schizophrenia. This guy was known for being dangerous. That is the issue here, not his color. The guy was known to be a dangerous individual, and they kept on releasing him. He was a ticking time bomb. That's the takeaway here. He never should have been on the streets. He was not a guy that somehow avoided detection. He was well known. His family knew about him. The police knew about him. The hospitals knew about him. And he was free to run around with a knife. That's the takeaway here. Now, that is the failure to deal with a chronic criminal with a history of mental illness. And then if you want to deal with racism, there is a factor of racism here. There's a factor that this woman, the mayor, decided to hide it. That would be the only racism to play in this, that she saw this and she probably hid it to hide the fact that she was scared it was going to be a racist issue. That would be a racist act, and that would be the one I would like to look into. Why she was hiding it. Was she hiding it because he was Black? Was she hiding it because she knew that she failed in her duty to put a mentally ill man away? Or both? I think if there's any racism here, it was her. She was incompetent, and she told everybody to put her on the lowdown. That is the true crime here. She said she's not villainizing those who struggle with their mental health, or though this is her answer as to why she suppressed the story. She's not villainizing those who struggle with mental health or those who are unhoused. She said that mental health, like the schizophrenia Brown was diagnosed with, needs to be treated with the same compassion and diligence and commitment as cancer and heart disease. Those who are unhoused more frequently the victim of crimes and not the perpetrator. So he's a victim. So even after this, she's showing compassion to him. Well, she didn't show any compassion to him before he committed the crime, certainly, because he's out on the street and he's homeless. She's showing compassion to him after he slaughters a young girl on her phone who's completely oblivious to what's going on. And I know, I could talk about how beautiful she is and the fact that she was a refugee. By the way, she was in the country legally. I checked that out too. I always try to get all my facts in a row. She was here legally. She had a bright future. She was working hard. She did not deserve to be attacked by a schizophrenic animal who should have been locked up. And for the mayor to come out after all this and not take responsibility, but show compassion to the savage that did this is just unbelievable. And if there's any racism, it lies on her shoulders for seeing this and hiding it, because she was scared of the S storm that was going to be hitting from the fact that what she saw was a Black man killing a white woman, or she saw her lack of dealing with career criminals or criminal psychotics killing an innocent girl, or both. And she decided to hide it by telling everyone to ditch it. This happened on 8/22, and it took, about 2 weeks, over 2 weeks to come out, because she did her best to hide it. And now it's out. And, Again, the crime was that she buried this. And I want to know why he was allowed to do this to her. That's ridiculous. Now, I do want to get on one thing before I go. And I mentioned this in the past, and I'll mention it again. I don't want to get into my entire life. It's just basically my life has been very challenging, to say the least. I've got a history of four divorces. I'm on my fourth marriage now, and it's been a pretty rocky life. It's been ups and downs. One of the reasons is I found out, very, very recently, that throughout my life, people that I trusted, family members and friends, were secretly in a coven. And throughout my life, they've been, every time my life has gone well, I have unexpectedly fallen on my face, unexpectedly. Things that didn't make any sense to me. I would suddenly get the rug pulled out from under me. And I always got back up and rose again, only to find out again a couple of years later, things just happened that were like shocking to me, whether it be marriages or things at jobs I should have gotten, promotions I should have gotten, and things just kept on going weird. Anyway, a few years ago, I found out why, and that is all my life, people that I trusted, family members and friends, were part of a coven. And throughout my life, they were attacking me. So whenever I was doing well, they were pulling me back down again. And I finally found them out after almost 60 years. And I've dealt with them. The Holy Ghost came unto me, and they actually, what happened was, I only found out because they decided for some reason to turn up the heat, and they wanted to finish me. And it was when they finished me, or trying to finish me, that things got really bad. And I started to get severe attacks. Demons started visiting me, and I started to see things, hallucinations and demons and all that kind of stuff. And I knew I wasn't insane. And I prayed to Jesus, and Jesus came to me and gave me the Holy Ghost, who revealed who it was. And I approached them, and we found it out. And bottom line is, I found out, it was revealed to me who these people were. And through the Holy Ghost, I exposed them and defeated them, and my life's great now. And I found out who was actually doing it. It was a terrible shock to find out the people for years and years and years who I held as close to, people who I used to go to through these bad times for support, were actually the people that were doing it to me. And anyway, bottom line is, I found out, as tough as it was to find out, the people I loved and trusted the most, people I would have given my life for in a heartbeat, were the people that were actually attacking me throughout my life and causing me, costing me my marriages, costing me my promotions, costing me with a lot of things, and at one time crippled me. Anyway, this is not here to talk about me. This is my explaining to you that throughout my life, I was blaming other things, and it was actually the people that were closest and nearest to me that were causing issues. And it took me almost all my life to find out. And it was only because they got greedy and came to finish me that they showed their hand. And they could easily have finished me. The only thing that really saved me was that I knew I wasn't crazy. Had I had less confidence in myself, I probably would have checked myself into a loony bin, but I just knew I wasn't crazy. And it was that belief in myself and belief in Jesus that saved me. And once you accept the fact that you know that you're not crazy, you start looking for other things. And once you look for other things, then you find other things. Anyway, why am I bringing this up? Because I'm telling you that these people that did it to me, they weren't some, crazy goth people. They were doctors, they were lawyers, they were social workers, they were military men, there were accountants, there were people you see every day that you have lunch with, that you joke with. They were the last people that you would think. They weren't these people with all these sunken eyes and crazy makeup, and they were people that you would never expect. They were people that you laugh and joke with, that you play pickleball with, that you watch the football games with, that you sit in church with, that that you do hang with, you play baseball with, you play softball with. You never know who these people are. Evil isn't that obvious. So let me tell you something. When you have things in your life, especially things that don't quite make sense, when your child suddenly gets into drugs and they never were before, or you get laid off from a job that you shouldn't have gotten laid off, you get passed up for the promotion, or your husband or your wife suddenly start being unfaithful, or they start drinking and they don't drink before. There's so much that you want to blame for, or your husband or your wife suddenly have an affair in the office. It's so easy to say, well, yeah, it's because that girl wasn't working in that office before. Well, maybe that's true, but how did that woman get into the office? Or, yeah, your child's getting into drugs, but it's because they're hanging around with Louis, and they weren't hanging around with Louis before. Well, that's true, but why are they hanging around with Louis? What I'm saying to you is, there's every possibility that that's witchcraft. And it's really hard to know. It took me all my life to know, but there really is only one answer. And it's not always therapy, or it's not always fighting or divorcing. I would recommend against divorcing, because as I found out, that's running from that. They're going to just follow you. Witchcraft will just follow you. Because if you divorce that person and it is witchcraft, then it's going to go to the next relationship and destroy that too. Or if you just forget about that promotion, get another job, they're just going to destroy that too. They'll follow you around. They're just going to keep on badgering you like they badgered me all the way through my life. I never outran the witchcraft. I just found another area for them to badger me on, another job for them to harass me, another woman for them to destroy the relationship. The answer is Jesus. And I don't mean just getting on your knees and just reciting, the Our Father or the Hail Mary like, you used to when you're a child. I mean, develop a relationship with Jesus. Get on your knees and actually seek him out. Don't just say the words like, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. I mean, seriously, get that connection going. He is there. He's a living God. I know. I do talk to him. And we do. Sometimes we talk. I always talk to him. Sometimes he replies to me. Sometimes he just sends me a message that I know that he's there. Sometimes he'll send me a sign. Sometimes he'll just talk to me by throwing me images in my head, but he'll always let me know he's there. It's just how he lets me know he's there is different, but he does respond. And you just have to be open-minded. But the first step into fighting this is to get a relationship with Jesus and get on your knees. And if you need to start with a prayer, go right ahead. But the important thing is that when you say these, you just don't say them like you say the alphabet. You actually seek out Jesus and let him know that you're there and you're looking for him. And that's important to form that connection. When you form that connection, just talk to him. And that's the first step. But there's every reason to believe that these things are going on in your life, that these people do exist. And I mean, even that coven, there must have been 20 people in that coven. And if each person in that coven is harassing 2 to 3 people, I mean, and then they're out there, and they're out there. If you think that's the only coven, in North America, you're out of your mind. They're everywhere. And they don't always look like those witch doctors you see in Africa. They look like me. They look like you. And the devil does give them powers. That's the way he gets them. And they're not always like what you see in the Conjuring movies or Insidious. That's just movies. These people, and when these Hollywood stars, these music people, when they have these crystals and they talk about thank you Satan, like not Christian Bale, you think they're joking? They're not joking. They really are thanking them. And if you think that they're just joking, like Katy Perry saying she sold her soul, if you think she's joking, she's not. They really do. And the joke's on you if you believe it. If you don't believe it, I mean, they're serious. Anyway, this is the Reverend Bill. I just wanted to mention that to you guys because they're out there and they're causing all kinds of chaos. And if you don't recognize that and you're letting them do this to you, then you deserve it, because the answer is simple. I wish someone had told me this. years ago. And the only way to fight them, because you're not going to find out who they are, not without some help. And the only way that can help you is Jesus. Get on your knees and have Jesus come to you. And in time, build that relationship. And he'll reveal to you what's going on, and he will help you. This is Reverend Bill signing off. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye. Oh, please like, share, and subscribe if you like this. If not, come back later. We'll try again. Bye.